Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Good Dram Show with me, Good Dram. Right, okay, this is part two of our look at the Rocktown Distillery in Arkansas. Obviously, in the last episode of the show, we looked at the whiskey and the bourbon that Phil produces there at the distillery. In this episode of the show, we're looking at three of the other spirits that they produce there, and which Phil obviously kindly sent to me. So, I guess not an awful lot to say really, because I've said it all in the last episode. So, let's get on with introducing the lineup, shall we? Okay, so like a lot of new distilleries, obviously. They want to get a sort of an income stream coming in pretty quickly, so they'll do the White Dog or new make spirits, stuff like that. Also, they have a tendency to do exactly the same as what the Rocktown Distillery does and produce, a white spirit. In this instance, I believe they do produce a vodka and a sample of that, but this is what's called the Brandon's Gin, bottled at 46%. Now, that's not the only interesting thing about the gin, although 46% is fairly alcoholic for a gin. You don't tend to see them often around that ABV. They often tend to be sort of like around about the 40, maybe 43%, but so it's unusual to see it at 46%. The other interesting thing about it is where a number of gins they will paste the botanicals in the finished spirit, or they will basically sort of macerate them in the spirit before distilling them a final time or something like that. What the Rocktown Distillery does, which I think is quite unique, is it takes its 7 botanicals: juniper, coriander, angelica, cinnamon, lemon peel zest, orange peel zest, and anise, and vapour infuses them. What do I mean by vapour infusing? Well, basically they stick them in a basket and then put the basket in the neck of the still, and so as the spirit is being distilled, the vapours rise up obviously through the neck and obviously through the botanicals. Now, one imagines that that's going to give a little bit more of a subtle character to the botanicals, and certainly from reading the blurb that accompanied the samples, it means that it allows, it's not quite so heavy on the juniper, and it allows some of the other botanicals to sort of come through a little bit more predominantly than with some other gins that I've tasted, which obviously tend to be more about the sort of the juniper rather than anything else. So it'd be interesting to see whether that is indeed the case. This second white spirit here is what they call their Riverboat Rum. It's bottled at 40% and again double distilled from pure cane dark brown sugar. Spirit is briefly aged, and I mean briefly, probably a matter of weeks I imagine, just to sort of settle down in their ex hickory smoked whiskey casks, bottled, and then so it'll be interesting to see what this comes out like. Again, it's interesting way of making a rum. Most rums, as you probably know, tend to be either distilled from molasses or sugarcane juice, or obviously in the Ronza Kappa case, sugarcane honey. I don't know too many that are distilled from brown sugar, so it'll be interesting to see what that one's like. And this one, slight pause. This is Apple Pie Arkansas Lightning, bottled at 20%. Apparently this is like good old daddy used to make in his shed in the back garden or whatever. No, it's new make spirit, obviously cut to 20%, flavoured with apple juice and cinnamon. Hence why it's called apple pie flavoured Arkansas Lightning, I guess. So anyway, I guess that's enough of the waffling on these, and should we get around and taste something? Right, okay, so let's take a look at the gin then, shall we? See what the nose gives us. It's aromatic. It's relatively subtle. It is. There is quite a juniper note. but I'm also getting some of the Angelica, a little bit of the, quite a bit actually of the lemon. It's really fresh. It's got a lovely freshness to it. Yeah, certainly the citrus is you know, probably as prominent as the juniper notes. Certainly getting a bit of the cinnamon and coriander as well. That sort of nice kind of almost earthy spice note. Yeah, that's a really nice gin. Really pleasant. Palate. Oh, yes, that's got a kick to it. Actually got a nice sweetness to it. Yeah, the juniper is not, so it's more fresh, it's more orange, or more lemon rather than orange, a bit of orange. That comes up first, then you get the sort of the cinnamon, the coriander coming through on the middle, and really finishes with that Angelica note. That's really complex. Pleasantly, you know, crumbly, soft, but yeah, it's got a packs a bit of alcohol to it, you know, and I imagine that's not going to sort of lose its flavouring if you add something like tonic or something like that, if that's your thing. But yeah, I like that. That's got some strength to it, and really nice complexity. Yeah, that's good gin, I think. Okay, so let's have a look at the rum then. See what the nose gives us then. It's lightly oiled in a sort of slightly Guyana-y kind of style. Lots of toasted caramel, a little bit of dried fruit, certainly more in the not satsuma, sultana, that kind of lighter dried fruit kind of character. Bit of earthy spice, not really the most complex of noses. I mean, it's a bit young. But it's got a nice roundness, softness to it. It's yeah. It's pleasant. It's a nice nose palate. Yeah, it's got a nice pungency to it. Again, lightly oiled. A little bit of dried fruit, quite rounded and soft, with a not sugariness, but a sort of a crystallised brown sugar kind of character, which I guess you'd expect as it's been distilled from that. It's soft, it's nice, it's easygoing. Like I say, it's not the most complex spirit in the world. I think that could probably do. It would be interesting again to see that with some age and some oak character. But I think as a white rum, I think that is very pleasant. It's very easy to drink. It's obviously not been mucked about. You know, it's not been aged and then stripped of colour and all this kind of stuff that some other rum producers kind of tend to do. It's natural. It's honest. Yeah, it's nice. It's pleasant. Yeah. Right, and finally the apple pie flavoured Arkansas Lightning. let's see what the nose gives us on this. Would you be absolutely amazed if I said it smells like baked apple pie with cinnamon? It does. I know. Julia loves it and goes, I really want you to get some of that. I can easily drink this. This is really nice. It's not my cup of tea, it has to be said. I mean, obviously they've diluted it to 20% to basically, strip the spirit of any of the impurities and the oiliness and what have you. And I mean, it just does. It just smells like baked apple pie, including the pastry. It's very, very unusual. I mean, I don't think I've ever smelled anything quite like this. I guess there's not a lot else I can say. There's no other characteristics other than apples, pastry, and cinnamon. Wonder what the palate's going to taste like. Guess what? It tastes exactly like the nose. It tastes just like baked apple pie and cinnamon. If you love the cures, if you love this kind of thing, you're gonna go a bundle on it. It really is. Yeah, it's nice. It's pleasantly made. I mean, all joking aside, and it isn't really my cup of tea at all. It has to be said. But evaluating it purely on what is in the glass, the product is really very, very good. It does exactly what it says on the tin. And it's got length, it's got, but I mean, there's no real spirit character. Like I said, it's just apple pie and cinnamon. I guess it's not trying to be sort of something that it's not, and it's just unusual, strange. But there you have it. Yeah, the world is full of these odd little spirits, shall we say? Right, okay, so let's sum this little tasting up. I think overall, I just want to say a big thank you to Phil for sending me the samples. It was really, really generous of him. And I really do hope that they manage to get an importer in the UK, because I think the spirits, I think, is going to sell. Certainly the bourbon's going to sell. But coming back to what we've tasted this afternoon, I really liked the gin. I thought the gin was exceptionally good. Subtle, quite complex as far as gin goes. I mean, I could certainly smell and taste all the individual components. Sometimes gins tend to be a little bit too heavy on the juniper, and you sort of smell and you just go, oh, that's juniper. And you don't get any of the other botanicals. You might get a little bit of it, but that was actually really, really nice. And obviously the vapor infusion works. It doesn't sort of allow the juniper to overpower the other botanicals. So really, really nice. The rum was nice. It's okay. It is what it is, I suppose. I would guess that it's going to be fine for mixing. It will give you a bit of that dried fruit kind of character, and a little bit of sweetness to your Coke or whatever it is you kind of mix with it. It doesn't have the complexity of some of the other rums, but then it's not been aged in oak. It's a white rum. It's simple, straightforward, drinkable. Nice. Can't say anything more about it than that. And the apple pie lightning then. Well, I mean, as a product, it's interesting. It's funky. It tastes exactly like it should do. It tastes of apple pie and cinnamon. It's not really a whiskey at the end of the day, but it's a nice product. It's funky. It's a bit of fun. As long as it's sort of priced right, which I imagine being only 20% alcohol, it's certainly not going to be particularly expensive. I can see it selling. Like I said, the missus loves it, and I'm sure lots of girlies will love this, and probably the odd bloke as well. I imagine that bit like some good old apple pie. But anyway, I digress. I'm waffling. Interesting, really interesting tasting, and like I said, I really hope that these really nice spirits will make it to our shores at some stage. So all that's left to say is hope you enjoyed the show. Good dramming and good afternoon.